Hello, if you're new here, my name is Angel. I moved to New York City a year ago as a new grad. I did this whole apartment hunting thing last year. Let me tell you, it is no joke. New York City apartment hunting is literally like a war zone. You have to be on it the second something gets posted, or else it's just gonna go like that. I can't really snap. That's my best attempt. I absolutely loved my apartment from last year. You can check out the move-in vlog here. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment in a prime location in Manhattan. Elevator, there was laundry and building, a huge kitchen with tons of cabinet space, almost a little bit too much cabinet space because I think I started buying a lot more things because I could fit it there anyway. Now I'm realizing maybe I should downsize a little bit. Last year, I was like, oh my God, I'm never moving. I'm gonna stay here forever. It's a really good apartment, but there is one downside, and that was unfortunately the lighting. I have one roommate. Both of our rooms faced another building. There was no direct sunlight. I kind of learned the hard way how much of a difference lighting makes on your overall well-being. Last winter, I think I actually got a little bit of seasonal depression because I got zero direct sunlight. I felt like I was going crazy. Every time I came home, I just felt like I was being closed in, even though your house or apartment is supposed to feel like your safe space. Plus, since my roommate and I just moved to New York last year, we wanted to see what it's like living in a new neighborhood, so we figured why not make the move and start looking. Okay, so let's get into the criteria of what we were looking for. As I mentioned earlier, I have one roommate and we currently have a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment. So we were looking for another 2-bed, 1-bath, potentially 2-bed, 2-bath if they had it. And if there was 3-bath, 4-bath, I don't even know if that exists, but if they have it, I'll take it. For our current apartment, we pay $4,200 a month. We split it evenly, so it's $2,100 a month. For our new apartment, we wanted to pay around the same amount, but for both of us, our hard max was $2,500 a month. So the total for the apartment would be a hard cap on $5,000 a month. I know this is an absolute insane amount to pay for rent, but that is unfortunately just how it is in New York City, especially if you're in Manhattan, because New York City is the most expensive city in the US and Manhattan is the most expensive borough in the US. You kind of just have to deal with it, unfortunately. And also, let me clarify, we're not even looking for a luxury apartment. If you're looking for a luxury apartment, even just a 1-bedroom is easily at least $5,000 a month just for 1 bedroom. I have a roommate, we have to have separate bedrooms, so there's no way that we can afford a luxury apartment. In terms of our move-in date, last year our lease started on October 1st, so we were looking for another lease that also started October 1st, but this ended up being so stressful. Literally, like, our old lease ended on September 30th, and you have one night in between because you're supposed to move into your new unit on October 1st. So there was one night in between where we were really stressing out on where to put all of our things. Be sure to subscribe so you can check out the very stressful moving process in my next video. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the apartment must-haves, which are the non-negotiables. As I mentioned, light. Please, I need natural light. That's the entire reason why I wanted to move in the first place. We could not have north-facing windows. Even if it wasn't north-facing, it could not be facing another building. Besides that, because we loved our old apartment so much, we mainly wanted to look for places that would be an upgrade from our current place. Other things that we want to keep for our new apartment would be being in Manhattan and being in a safe neighborhood. Those were the main priorities. Elevator building, at least in building laundry, an AC and heater system, because during the summertime, New York City is crazy humid and hot. I literally am just standing in the subway station and you can see like sweat dripping down my nose. That's kind of gross. And then in the wintertime, it's really freaking cold, so gotta have that. Each of our rooms needed to be big enough to fit a bed and a desk because my roommate and I both work from home sometimes. And the last two are just less than 30-minute commute from work, and the apartment needed to be less than a 10-minute walk from the nearest subway station. So those are the must-haves, but the nice-to-haves are just things that would be very nice to have, you know? So like I said, we're currently living in neighborhood. I'm not telling you because safety reasons. But we wanted to try out a different neighborhood still in Manhattan just so we could try it out and experience what it's like living there. Other nice to haves included a doorman because of safety, a package room, and no subway transfers to work. Okay, and last thing before we start looking at apartments, some things to know are that people typically use StreetEasy to look for apartments. This is just updated really frequently, and that's just the most common platform that people use. Another thing to know is this year, this is very different from other years, there are no more broker's fees. So a broker's fee is basically when a tenant has to pay the broker a one-time fee for showing them the apartment, only if they end up signing though. It's typically around 15% of your annual rent, which is really steep. Last year, my roommate and I had to pay that, and it ended up making our net effective rent a couple $100s more each month, which we were very happy about because the broker literally just opened the door for us, showed us, and then we applied, and that was it. And then we had to pay them thousands of dollars. But luckily there's a new law now, so whoever hires the broker has to pay the fee. So that means that if the landlord hires the broker, then the landlord is the one who has to pay, which makes sense. I don't know why they didn't do that before. I actually found that some landlords found a way around this by not listing the unit on StreetEasy, so they can still say it's the tenant's responsibility because they hired them. I'm not gonna say who, what, where, when, why. Actually, I know why. But I don't want to get in trouble. That's just something I noticed. But because we were looking on StreetEasy, there was no broker's fee. So yay! Saving money in the most expensive city, yay! Other things to know are that your annual salary needs to be at least 40 times your monthly rent. So for example, if my rent is $2,000, you multiply that by 40, and that means that my annual salary needs to be at least $80,000 to qualify for the apartment. You also need to prepare the following documents to apply. I highly recommend getting these ready before you start touring apartments because apartments will go in the blink of an eye. Sometimes they're listed on StreetEasy and within an hour they already have tours and it's taken. So my roommate and I made sure that we had these in hand. So if we toured an apartment and we liked it, then we could just apply immediately. Okay, now that we have all that out of the way, let's tour apartments. The first apartment I toured was in Hell's Kitchen. It was only a 2-minute walk from the nearest subway station. There were 2 units that the broker showed me. This was in a luxury building. I don't know if it's super luxury, but it's more luxury. What even is the definition of a luxury apartment? The first unit that I looked at was $49.50 a month, and they included 1 month free. So this would make the net effective a little bit lower. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, but you can flex it. Flexing means that you just build another wall and that forms another room. This is very common if you want to save costs. This was a 1-bedroom apartment, but it was flexed into 2 bedrooms. The flex wall could go all the way to the ceiling. They allowed you to add the wall to be pressurized against the window, which was really nice because we could still have part of the window in the common room. We would need to install the wall ourselves, which would be over $1,000. So that was a little bit But the lighting in here was amazing. It was beautiful. Like, I loved the windows. Definitely could get so much light in there. And like I mentioned, the common room could still get some natural light. That was a very big plus for this apartment because this was a luxury apartment. There was gym, lounge, elevator, doorman. There was also a package room. The laundry was in building, but there were a lot of washer dryers in the building, which I really liked. The amenities would be $300 a year per unit, which is pretty good because if I'm splitting it with my roommate, it's only $150 a person, which is only a little over $10 a year. Oh, that's not right. Which is a little over $10 a month per person, which is really good. I quite liked this apartment, but the elevator felt a little bit more dingy, even though this was a luxury apartment. And I keep saying this because it looks like it is luxury from the outside, but once you're actually walking around, it does feel a bit older and it seems like they only did things for show, if that makes sense. Apparently it's geared towards young working professionals, and that makes sense because I'm one of them, because typically people in their 20s who are working want a nicer luxury apartment, but on the cheaper end. The other thing is that this location, even though I like Hell's Kitchen, it was close to 42nd Street in Times Square, which is not a very safe place. It's definitely really nice, but you could tell that it's not as nice as other luxury apartments, but that's the reason why it's more affordable. I really liked the entryway though. There's like a glass walkway as you walk towards the elevators, and there's like a garden, so it was really beautiful. So that unit was on the 27th floor, and the other unit that I looked at was on the 34th floor. This unit was $5,200 a month. They also gave 1 month free, so the net effective would be less than $5,000 a month, which is good, so we're under budget. This one was also really nice, but unfortunately, if you were to put a wall, then you wouldn't have any lighting in the common room. I think I liked this one a little bit better too though, because it had a gorgeous view. This one was facing away from Times Square as opposed to the other unit. You could see the water. The view was just so much better, and I think it would be less noisy as well. So I really like this apartment overall, but it was a bit on the pricier side, and in addition, not a super safe area. This was also the first apartment that I looked at, so we decided to keep that in the back of our minds while we kept looking. The next apartment was in Turtle Bay, which I didn't even know this neighborhood existed. Like, I had only heard of like the common ones like Upper East Side, Hell's Kitchen, Fidei. Where did Turtle Bay come from? This was a 2-bed, 1-bath on the 2nd floor. There was an elevator in the building, but we'd probably just walk up because it's the 2nd floor. They had a doorman. It was kind of like a luxury apartment. It was $5,000 a month, so that's just hitting our budget. There was a giant kitchen countertop, which was really nice because my roommate and I like to cook a lot. Pretty good closet space, standard bathroom. There was good lighting throughout, and the bedrooms were decently sized as well. There was laundry in building. This was also a flex. Just kidding, a flex room, flex apartment, because there was a wall. Yeah. There was laundry in building, so many washers and dryers. Oh, beautiful. Literally my old apartment only had like 2 washers and 2 dryers, so this was like heaven to me. It was beautiful. So many, like you would never have to wait. Yeah, it was beautiful. One thing that I really liked about this apartment was that there was a common area. So there was like a pool table area for you to work. I actually don't know how much I would use that though, because I don't know how often they clean that. The pool table was cool, but it felt like I was back in college. There was also a gym. It wasn't the nicest, but it was definitely a really good option. There was an amenity fee for that, but I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was super high though. I really liked this, but this was further from the nearest subway station. It was like a 10-minute walk and it was a bit pricey. Okay, for apartment number 3, I decided to go back to Hell's Kitchen. This was again a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment on the 2nd floor. This was only $4,000 a month, which was really good, but once you walked in, you could kind of see why that is. There was no doorman, no elevator, and now I'm realizing I don't even think we saw the laundry room, so I don't think there was even laundry in there. The building was definitely on the older side. The stairs were so steep. I was so tired, and it was only the 2nd floor. So tiring. And I work out and lift a lot, so that's saying something, or maybe I'm just kind of unfit. This apartment had a really small kitchen. Like, I don't think you could have 2 people there at once. And the building seemed much older. The rooms were tiny. I looked at one of the rooms and it was small, but the 2nd room was so tiny. You could only fit a twin-sized bed and a tiny desk. I think there was only one way that you could put the furniture because it was just that limited. The lighting in the bedrooms was just okay. It was definitely better than my old apartment, but we were also facing the street, so I can definitely tell that it would be very noisy, especially being on the 2nd floor. There was also decent closet space, but to me this didn't really feel like an upgrade from my old apartment, so I wasn't the biggest fan. We actually toured another apartment right after this, and we just went across the street. This was also a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment, $4,500 a month, which is really good, and no broker's fee because screw that, brokers. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't say that. But this building was so much nicer than the other one. It's crazy how big of a difference this was just by going across the street. There was an elevator, no doorman, but there was a package room, and the building was just so much cleaner and more modern. You could definitely tell that the building was renovated and it felt like a hotel. Oh my god, I still can't believe this. This was the biggest common area I have ever seen in a New York City apartment. Like, at first, I thought that we would have to add a flex wall because it was just so big, and I was like, there's no way that they could fit 2 additional bedrooms in this unit, but there were indeed 2 full bedrooms in addition to this common area, like an entire couch and living area on one side of it, and then you could have complete separation of a dining area. It was so nice. The kitchen was a little bit small, but it still had some counter space, and the hardwood floors looked really nice. There was a lot of really good closet space as well. There was a huge walk-in closet right when you walk in with a window. So I really liked this apartment. There were no overhead lights though, and the lighting was kind of dim. It was really funny though, because as we were walking out, I looked at the window on the outside and it said that there was an energy efficiency rating of D, which is really bad. Like, I've never seen an apartment with that kind of rating. This apartment had laundry in building. I was highly considering this one because of the price. The location was only a 5-minute walk from the nearest subway station, and that giant common area was so beautiful. And the bedroom sizes were also really good. The only downside I'd say is there wasn't as much natural light as I was hoping for. All right, and apartment number 5 takes us to FIDI, which is the financial district, the south tip of Manhattan. This was a luxury apartment. Like, this was a luxury apartment. Okay, the other ones we saw were like luxury apartment, but this was a luxury apartment. It was very modern. There was a doorman, elevator, laundry in building. There was a laundry room on each floor. There was a package room and a lounge. The broker showed us 2 units. So the first one was on the 16th floor. It was $4,800 a month, and it was a flex 2-bedroom. So again, a 1-bedroom, and then they added a wall for a flex. I think this apartment would have included the wall when we moved in, so we wouldn't have to install it ourselves or pay anything. The flex wall had glass on the top, which I really don't mind because there's light that can come into the common room. The only concern is noise. There was also a really cool bar area in the kitchen. I'd say this apartment was pretty standard. There was a small bathroom, good closet space, and when I said this was like a luxury apartment, that's mainly like on the front side, like the lobby, but when you looked on the inside, outside at the actual unit, I'd say it was pretty standard. There were really nice windows in the main room, but one of the rooms had 0 windows. It was so dark, and it didn't help that they didn't turn on the lights either. So this was a no-no. So the broker showed us another unit on the 14th floor, which was $48.50 a month. But this was so interesting because this was a very, very large studio. This was 900 square feet. 900 square feet, and our old apartment was only, I think, like 650 square feet. That's crazy for a studio. Because the studio is so big, you can convert this into a 2-bedroom apartment. So the broker was showing us where we could put the wall, and we would need to install these ourselves, which would be around $1,500 per wall that we'd have to pay out of our own pockets. I think it was pretty nice. This one also had a bar area in the kitchen. The kitchen was like an okay size. Overall, this apartment was pretty good, but along with having to install the wall ourselves, I think the cost would have been a bit too high for us. On top of that, I'm not the biggest fan of FiDi, so yeah. Alrighty, and the last apartment that we decided to tour was actually another unit in our old building. Even though our old unit was facing other buildings, there were other units that weren't, and they had really nice natural light. There was another unit that was available for also October 1st. So we really wanted to tour this because, again, we love our current building and the layout is the exact same. The only difference is that there's floor-to-ceiling windows, so lots of natural light coming in. This unit was $4,600 a month, so below our budget. The neighborhood is unknown because, again, safety. I don't want you guys to know where I used to live. I'm sorry. But as I mentioned, this was the same layout as our current apartment. Huge kitchen. One big difference was that the flex wall this time has plexiglass along the top. But as I mentioned before, it allows more natural light to come into the common area, which I'm a fan of. Oh, let me tell you guys, when I saw the bedrooms, I was like, this is beautiful. I was so used to our old unit for so long that seeing it in a different light, get it? Light. It was so nice. Actually seeing light pouring in, the room was just like drenched in light. There was so much natural light, and the floor to ceiling windows. The price was a bit higher than our old place, but as I mentioned, for the mental health, I'm willing to pay that. When I went to some of my friends' apartments and they had natural light just pouring in, I was like, wow, I feel instantly happier. Am I gonna be 80 years old and look back at my life and be like, oh, darn, I really wish that I saved $200 a month on that. I shouldn't have paid for that natural light. Ugh, I'm so poor now. Heck no, I'm not gonna be like that. So all I'm trying to say is that your mental health is 100% worth it. Just trust me on that. All right, so those were all the apartments that I toured. I am indeed in my new apartment, actually, which you could probably tell because there was actually natural light coming in throughout this video. Try to guess which apartment I chose. I feel like it's kind of obvious, but let me just say I am so happy with this move. And this time around, I do not see myself moving for the foreseeable future. I am just in love. Like literally a few days into moving in, every day I just wake up smiling ear to ear. I'm so happy that I made this move. Please subscribe so you can check out my entire moving process. And overall, I'm just on a mission to, again, maximize my 20s. Make sure that I am living life to the fullest while I am currently 23. And I would love for you to follow along so we can both try to figure out this life together, because it's kind of crazy. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out last year's whole New York apartment debacle, click here, or YouTube thinks that you'll like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. That helps me out a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!